If you're serious about making daily sales on Etsy, what you do before you hit publish on a new listing is just as important as the product itself. In this video, I'm walking you through the 13 essential things you need to do before you list your digital product on Etsy. Most beginners make the same mistake. They finish designing their product, upload it quickly, and then just hope it sells. But that's exactly why so many new listings never get seen. There's a reason my digital products keep getting views and sales without ads and without social media. It's not luck. It's because I follow a repeatable process every single time I list a new product. These are the exact steps I use to help my listings show up in Etsy search results and convert into sales. Okay, let's kick things off with one of the most important decisions you will make for your listing, and that is your thumbnail listing photo. I'm going to hop over to Etsy and show you exactly what I mean when I say a thumbnail listing photo. Your thumbnail listing photo is the image that shows up in Etsy search results. So all of these are thumbnail listing photos, and it is what gets people to stop scrolling and actually click on your product. If your thumbnail listing photo doesn't catch their eye, they will scroll right past it and it won't matter how great your product is, they'll never know. After auditing 100 plus listing photos for my students inside of the sales sprint and studying over 1,000 Etsy listings, here are the beginner mistakes I see over and over again, and they are costing people so many sales. The first mistake is uploading a plain screenshot of the product with completely no context. We have no idea what your product even is. Mistake number 2 is using tiny, hard to read text because most people are on a mobile device, so we need the text to be big enough for us to see it on a phone. The third mistake is cluttering the photo with too much info and it makes it completely overwhelming. Usually when we buy a product, it's to simplify our life, but if your listing photo is super cluttered, we're already overwhelmed, and that's just causing us more overwhelm. And then the fourth mistake is relying on lifestyle mock-ups that look too generic. We really can't envision your product in our life because you're using really aesthetic mock-ups that don't resemble our everyday life. And then the last common mistake I see is that beginners forget to highlight what makes their product different. And that is the key to making sales on Etsy. Why is your product different than the other products here? So if I don't know the answer to that at a quick glance, then you're going to struggle to make sales. Your first listing photo isn't just a preview of your product, it's the hook for your product. And if it doesn't grab someone's attention in 1 to 2 seconds, you're losing the sale before the customer even sees the rest of your listing photos. Once you understand how to make really good listing photos, your listings start to work for you, and they will pull in views and sales without you having to do anything extra. All right, next up, and this is a step that way too many new Etsy sellers skip, you need to make sure that your listing is mobile friendly. And I get it. You spend all of that time designing your product, writing the title, uploading photos, and then you hit publish and you think you're done. But here's the problem. 60% of Etsy shoppers are using a mobile device. And if your listing doesn't look good on mobile, they're not going to click and they're definitely not going to buy. This is something I learned early on after seeing one of my future best products doing really bad. When I checked my listing on my phone, I saw that the text was cut off, the image was super small, so you couldn't even really see what it was. And after fixing that, my views went way up and I started to make sales every single day. When you are looking at your listing photos, you're going to ask yourself these 3 questions. Question 1 is, can you clearly see what your product is from the first photo? The second question is the text readable without zooming in? And the third question is, does your photo look too busy or too cluttered on a small screen? This step takes less than 30 seconds, but it can triple your sales. So before you list your digital product on Etsy, always double check your listing on a mobile device, because if it doesn't look good on a mobile device, then you could potentially be leaving 60% of your sales on the table. And you have worked way too hard for that. For number 3, I want to ask you something first. If you were buying something online and the listing only had 1 or 2 photos, would you feel confident buying that product? For most of us, the answer is probably not. And Etsy buyers are no different. The more visuals they have, the more confident they feel. That's why using all 10 listing photo slots is not optional if you want to make daily sales. But before you panic, you don't need 10 completely different designs. Most of my best-selling products reuse the same photos across multiple slides. They just point out different features each time. So my customers don't even know that they're looking at the same picture because I'm calling out different things in the different photos. This is a study done by Business Dasher, and you can see here 75% of online customers rely on product photos to make purchasing decisions. 50% of online buyers feel that having large, clear product photos is more crucial than reading descriptions or reviews. And then we have 90% of people shopping online believe that photo quality is a top priority when buying something. So people want to see what they are getting before they buy, which is super important when we are selling things online that they can't interact with in a store before they purchase it. That's why your photos are so important. And that's also why I updated the sales sprint to include 8 video tutorials showing you exactly how to make really good listing photos. So if you're only using 3 or 4 listing photos in your listing, then you are missing out on a lot of sales. So number 4 is optional, but if you want your listing to stand out more in search results, then you are going to want to add a listing video. According to Etsy, they are telling us that listings with video get twice as many orders as listings with just photos. So if Etsy is telling you to add a video because you can get twice as many sales, then I would add a video so you can get more sales. But before you skip this and you think you don't want to be on video, don't worry, you don't have to. Your face never needs to show up in a video for you to make a listing video. And Etsy removes all the sound, so all you have to focus on is the visuals. And the reason this matters so much is because Etsy is literally telling us that you can make more sales if you put a video in your listing. And that's because buyers are more likely to click on your listing. They're more likely to stay longer on your listing because they're going to watch that video, which means they're more likely to click add to cart. And that is because video builds trust. It helps the customers see what your product is, see how it works, and why it's worth buying, especially for digital products that people can't interact with before they buy it and they're not going to get anything shipped to them. A 12-second video could help you make a lot of sales and make your product more realistic for the customer. Let me show you some examples of videos that you can add within your listing, and these can all be made within Canva. And if you don't know how to make listing videos, I show you how to make listing videos in the sales sprint. So this is example 1, and it is for an SVG design, and this is a design bundle. If we click over here on the video, you can see there's no sound, and they are just showing the different ways that you can use these SVG designs. The customer is not going to get a physical product. They are just getting the SVG. And if we look down here in the description, they make sure that they tell this to the customer. So they're letting you know this is what you will receive. And then they're putting it in all caps. This is a digital product. So we're letting people know that. But this is a listing video that can easily be made in Canva. And then if you make SVGs, but you just make one SVG, then let's look at this video. So you don't have a bundle. You can just show that SVG on different items. So like you can do purses, you can do cups, whatever it is that you make. So they made this in CapCut, but you can do this in Canva. But they're just showing again the different ways to use this one type of SVG. So again, this is a digital product. The person will not get these shirts or anything shipped to them. They're just getting the design. For example 3, we have an invitation. And I know a lot of people struggle with listing photos and videos for one-page products, but here's a really good example. Since this is editable, they are showing the customer how to edit the product. This is super helpful so they can see how easy it is if they purchase this product, how easy it will be to edit it. This is a great example, and you would just record your screen, and you can use something like Zoom, you can use Loom, so they both sound the same. One starts with a Z, one starts with an L. So you can just choose some way to record your screen, and then you can just record yourself editing your product. And this is another simple way that you can add a video to your listing. And then here is the third product. So this is more of a DIY, and this type of video is going to be more in depth. But what they've done here is they're showing themselves using the product. So it's a coloring craft, and they're showing themselves coloring the product and putting it together. This video is more in depth, but you can see here it really lets you see the before and after. So it's really like a transformation, so people can envision themselves doing this. This is another great option. You would just record record yourself with your phone putting this together, and then you can just edit it really quickly and speed it up. So just know your video doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to show what your product is and how it works. This one simple step can instantly make your digital product look more trustworthy, which will lead to more sales. So number 5 is non-negotiable if you want to get found on Etsy. You need to add keywords to your title. One day I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw a post from a new seller. She was struggling to get sales and she had put her link up there to try to get feedback from other members in the group. And when I clicked over to look at her listing, her title was digital planner. That's all it said was digital planner. So let me go over to eRank and I'm going to show you what was wrong with her product title. So here I am on eRank and I am going to type digital planner up here in the keywords section so we can get some data. Now, if we look over here at the searches, we can see that there is a lot of searches for digital planner, but look at the competition, over 500,000. So if all Etsy has to go off of for your product is digital planner, then how do you plan to stand out and get views with over 500,000 products on Etsy using the term digital planner? That's why she was struggling to get views to her Etsy shop. And the second reason this doesn't work is because it's way too vague. If you're only typing digital planner in here, you're missing out on a lot of chances to get found in other ways that people are searching for a digital planner. So they could have digital planner, but what if someone is looking for a budget template also, and that is included in your digital planner? So you're missing out on a lot of other keywords that you could include besides just digital planner. The sixth thing you want to do is make sure you're using all 13 tags. So Etsy gives you the option to use 13 tags for a reason, and that's because it's going to help you show up in more places. So let me hop over to a listing and show you what I mean by tags. In the tags section, Etsy tells you can add up to 13 tags to help people search for your listings. This is Etsy telling you, use this section so people can find you. Okay, so use it. I did the example of a unicorn birthday invitation. What you're going to want to put here is all of the different ways that people could type into the Etsy search bar to find your product. And Etsy can mix and match these. So if someone's looking for a birthday Evite, if someone puts rainbow birthday Evite, Etsy can show them your product because you have all of that here. If someone's looking for a unicorn magical birthday invitation, Etsy can know that this is your product. You want to not just repeat unicorn invitation, birthday invitation, rainbow invitation, glitter invitation. You don't want to keep saying invitation over and over and over again. You want to use the different ways that someone could type into the Etsy search bar to find your product. So that's why your tags are so important. And you want to make sure that they are long tags. You don't just want to put invitation, birthday, Evite, rainbow, unicorn. You don't just want one word tags because, like I said, Etsy can mix and match this. So the more words you can use to give Etsy data, the better. The more they have to work with, the more chances you can show up in search results. If I was just using 13 words, then that's not that many times that I could show up. But since I'm using multiple words per tag, now I'm like doubling my chances of showing up in search results. And that's what you want to do. You want to use longer words that someone could type into the Etsy search bar to find your product. The seventh thing you want to do before you list your product is write a search engine optimized description. With this, your description needs to do two things. It needs to help you show up in Etsy search results, and it needs to help your customer feel confident hitting the buy now button. So let me show you an example of an optimized description. So the description is going to show up over here, and you can see here they have added their keywords right in here so Etsy can pull in this data and know what this product is. And then when they go down here, they are letting you know what you are going to get. So this spreadsheet includes, so they're telling you what you're going to get. Here's how you will receive the file. It's PDF, Excel, and they're letting you know you get step-by-step instructions. So they're putting you at ease so you don't feel like you won't know how to use this product. And then what they're doing next is telling you what's going to happen after you purchase. Again, a customer may be wondering, okay, so after I buy this, where do I go to access it? They're letting you know right here how you can find your product after you purchase it, because again, this is a digital product. It's not going to be shipped to you. So where do you go to get it? That's what they're telling you. And then they include a disclaimer, and they're just giving you information that you may need to know before you buy it so that you don't run into any issues and they don't run into any issues either. So they're just decreasing their likelihood of getting returns, and they're saying this is available in English only. So just letting people know that. And then again, more disclaimers. Okay. So that is an optimized description, and it's really just putting the customer at ease and letting them know what they're going to get and answering any potential questions that they may have before they purchase. And if you have no idea what to include in your description, then you can always use ChatGPT, which is artificial intelligence, that can help you brainstorm or completely tell you what to put in your description. And here's the prompt I would use. I created a blank product type, so a budget spreadsheet, a flower invitation, whatever it is, and I want to include important information in my description that the customer would want to know before they purchase. If you're purchasing this product, what would you want to know before checking out? And then ChatGPT is going to spit you back a result, and it's going to tell you all of the things that it thinks you should include in your description to help your customers make a decision to buy your product. And then you can completely have it write your description for you. So it makes it super easy in the sales sprint. I give you prompts to help you with ChatGPT so you can write your description really easy. And I also give you a product description template so you don't have to start from scratch. ChatGPT definitely helps make it easier to get your products listed and optimized on Etsy. So with number 8, we want to use attributes to boost SEO. Attributes are things like the occasion, colors, and different types of categories have different attributes. So with digital products, we don't usually do size, material, all of that stuff, but the most common attributes I see are primary color, secondary color, and occasion. So let me show you where that's at on Etsy. So here we are on my fake listing. We're under details. We scroll down. So I use the planner template category for this. And here we go. Attributes. Etsy is letting you know here what that means, but this is it. Primary color, secondary color, and then sometimes it'll say occasion under here too. And then you can choose like Mother's Day, Christmas. And if there's some type of sale that Etsy's running, then they will know to include your product in that promotion because you've told them that this is a Christmas product or you told them that this is a Father's Day product. It just gives you more opportunities to show up in different places in the search results. So if Etsy is giving you this attributes section, do not skip over it because somebody might be typing in blue unicorn invitation, and that's going to increase your chances of showing up if you put your primary color as blue. You want to make sure that you are using this attributes section even though we are selling digital products because it just gives you more opportunities to show up in search results. So let's move over to number 9, and that is to add alt text to all of your images. This is one that can be optional, but it does make a difference. So alt text stands for alternative text, and it's what screen readers use to describe your images to visually impaired customers. But it also helps Etsy understand what your photo is about. So when we are listing our product on Etsy and we want to get views, we want to give Etsy as much information as possible. Let me show you where you would put your alt text. So back in our listing, if we go here to our photo, you can scroll down and see here it says alt text. That's where you are going to add your alt text, and you are going to let Etsy know what this product is. You're going to put keywords in there, but you want to describe the product as closely as you can. So you can use keywords like minimalist, homeschool routine, chore chart, ADHD routine chart, things like that. But you want to describe the product as closely as you can, and you want to make sure you're prioritizing people with visual impairments, not just focused on SEO. So we want to describe our product as closely as possible while also including keywords in there. And with those keywords, that's going to give you more opportunities to show up in different places within Etsy and Google. The 10th thing you're going to want to do before you list your product on Etsy is make sure that you are adding the product to the right shop section. So many people skip over the shop sections, but these are super important, especially for people who are repeat buyers or for the people who like what they see when they find your listing photo and they click over to your shop to see more products like it, but they can't find what they're looking for. Whenever you're not using your shop sections to make it easier for customers to look around your shop, then they're just going to leave because your shop is too chaotic and overwhelming. They might just buy that one product they saw and then leave instead of buying multiple products. Your shop sections are kind of like if you walk into Target and you go down an aisle and you see diapers and gardening tools and pasta, and you're like, what the heck is this? You came in here for Doritos. Where's the chip aisle? Where the heck are the Doritos? You're going to leave. You can't find what you're looking for. And that's how it is when you aren't using your shop sections or they're just really chaotic. So with your shop sections, they're like your aisles in a store. So you're directing people to where they're trying to go. So if you have a shop full of different types of spreadsheets, you could do your budget spreadsheet. You can do your productivity spreadsheets. So you can do your student planning spreadsheets, like whatever type of different spreadsheets you have in your shop, you can make a category for each category of product you have. And then if you don't have a niche, this is even more beneficial for you because it's going to help people find what they are looking for. So you can have an invitations category. You could have your digital planner category. You could have your business card category. If you don't have a niche, then you 100% need to be using the shop sections so that if someone comes to you for a business card, but you have all of these different types of products in your shop, they can go to your business card category and look through all of your business card options. You want to make sure you are using your shop sections to keep everything organized so you can increase your chances of having repeat buyers because they can find exactly what they're looking for. The 11th thing you want to do before you list your listing is you want to check your pricing. Pricing low does not automatically mean you are going to make more sales. I've seen shops struggle to sell their products for $1.99 when products similar to theirs are selling for $5, $7, and even $10. So what's the difference? Buyers are not just looking at the price, they are looking at the perceived value. Imagine you're shopping for a digital planner. You see one planner that's $2 and you see another planner that's $8 and they look identical. They look pretty much the same. The product that has $8 has beautiful listing photos. They have their listing videos showing you how to use the planner and they're telling you all the different things you're going to get. In the listing photos, they're showing you all the different variations, the covers for the planner. They're showing you the different types of planner styles you get. Like they're giving you all of this information with the $8 product. And then on the $2 product, they have one photo of the planner. Even if it's the exact same product, people are going to pay $8 instead of $2 because with the $8 product, you have made it look so visually appealing and valuable that they don't care to spend $8 to get a really good product. With the $2 product, you're not confident about that one, even though it's the exact same product. That is what you're doing with your pricing, is you are making sure your listing photos match the perceived value of your price. So you can charge $10 for a digital planner, but we need to see the value of the $10 in your listing photos. So you need to show me what I'm paying $10 for. What you'll see a lot of people doing on Etsy is making listing photos that look like they could be for a $20 product, and then they're pricing it at $4 because at that point it's just a complete no-brainer. This product looks so great and I'm getting all of this for $4. And that's what you're going to want to do, is make sure that you are making your product look very valuable so you can either charge higher for it or you can charge lower and make it more of a no-brainer. So it's up to you how you want to price your products, but it all comes down to perceived value, because if I don't even think your product is worth $2, then I don't care if it's a $2 product. I'm not going to want to waste my $2. So you need to make sure that you are showing us how valuable your product is from the very beginning. The 12th thing you want to do before you list your product on Etsy is you want to add the correct quantity. So I'll see people who, like me, we just put 999. That's 999 as the quantity because it's a digital product. I'm not going to run out of it. That's what most people do, is just put 999 as the quantity. But then you have some people who will put like 10 or they'll put 5, and that's because Etsy will put up a notification with your product that says low in stock, only 5 left, or low in stock, only 7 left. People feel like that creates more urgency. They need to buy the product before it runs out. The thing with that is, with digital product, people are catching on that it's a digital product. So we're not going to run out of it. If you're just selling like an invitation to a customer and you're saying that there's only 5 in stock and people know that this is a digital product and it's an endless supply, then that can come off as really sketchy. You don't want to lose trust with people by trying to use these gimmicky ways to make sales. If your product is great, it's going to sell. So you don't need to use these gimmicks of putting a low stock where there's only 7 left. You don't need to do those things if you have really good listing photos and you know what you're doing. I recommend putting your quantity at 999. That's like the max Etsy will let you put it at. And that way it's just really clear that you're not being gimmicky, you're not scammy by trying to trick people into buying your product. So that's all I'll say about that. Let's move to number 13, and that is to confirm the correct digital file is uploaded. And this one might sound obvious, but I have seen it missed and done incorrectly time and time again. Me, myself, I have uploaded a picture of the product instead of the actual product. So I've done this mistake. I've had students who create Canva template links. They have shared the wrong links with their customers and their customers couldn't access the product. You want to make sure that you are actually sharing the Canva template link. I have a video in the sales sprint pointing out the exact link that you need to use so you don't get them confused, because people don't know that there's multiple links within Canva you can share. You want to make sure you are sharing the correct template link with your customer so that they can actually access it. And I've also had a student who uploaded the wrong product to Etsy. The customer basically got that product for free, and then the student had to send them the correct product that they actually paid for. That was a costly mistake. They had to learn to definitely make sure that you are uploading the correct file onto Etsy so that the customer gets what they want, because if the customer doesn't get what you're telling them they're going to get, hopefully they will message you. So for all of us, the customers messaged us first and we were able to fix it. But there are times when the customer can just go in and leave you a 1-star review and say, this is a scam, I didn't even get the product, but they never reach out to you. You don't want that to happen. You want to make sure that you are uploading the correct digital product onto that listing. So always check that it's the correct product that you are adding onto the listing so that you don't run into any of these issues. And we're doing this in limited time, so you may not even be at home to send the correct file that the customer paid for. Like when this happened to me, I was grocery shopping. So I had to hurry up and finish grocery shopping, pack up the kids, load up all the groceries, and drive home before I could correct this issue. So just make sure you're paying attention to the digital file that you are uploading to the listing so that it is actually what the customer is paying for. So if you follow these 13 steps, every time before you list a digital product on Etsy, you are setting yourself up for more views, more favorites, and more sales. And the goal here is not perfection, it is consistency. You want to make sure that you are consistently running through this list of 13 things before you add your digital product to Etsy. But now that you know what to do before you upload your product, I want to make sure that you miss over some of the very common beginner mistakes that I see newbies making. So make sure you watch this video next, where I go over 9 very common mistakes I see beginners making that you never want to make when you are selling digital products on Etsy.